Ring ring, it's time for another episode of Crossplay Conversations, the show where we dive deep into the world of video games while keeping it light. I'm your host, Luke Lewis, and I'm joined by the full crew today. Coming off of PAX East, we have the Cozy Queen, Claire Lewis.
Hey.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
We have the Sneaker Savant and the Engaged one, Joseph Hooper.
I have a prop. This is my photo that I got from PAX from my favorite artist.
Oh, it's
right
beautiful.
Nice
It's
frame.
framed.
There
it is.
We got a little signature on it too. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's maybe like
It's
a
very
little bit over
clean.
here.
That's very pretty.
But very excited. His name is Chris in real life, but his handle is like Kehasuk. I don't know how to pronounce it, but go look him up. He's awesome if you like anime. and
Shout
Kingdom
out,
Hearts and stuff.
shout out, Chris. Beautiful stuff over there. And rounding out the quartet, we have the 3D printed man, special guest himself, Jacob McCourt.
I have my badges. That's my prop for today. And at some point, I want to do a shadow box of all of the
Ooh, that'd be cool.
badges I have
That'd be
because
sick.
this was my 15th PAX.
Hell yeah.
And at a certain point, I just want to like say,
Look at all of
man,
them.
what a fun time
Yeah,
of life.
Hell yeah.
Man.
I also shout out to the PAX theme. We'll get into our PAX impressions, all the games we played, all that good stuff. But shout out to the PAX land theme park theme aesthetic. I dug it.
Good theme.
It was a good vibe. All right, y'all. We've been home for a couple days. Let's jump into our icebreaker question, and then we'll run through our best of PAX East. We'll run through all of the Games of the Show awards that we gave out, some honorable mentions, some cool things that we played, general vibes of the show. We'll get into all of it. But our icebreaker question today, between all of the PAX East shenanigans, what new games have you been playing? What are you up to? What are you doing these days? Jacob, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I've got two games that I want to talk about, and I'm going to be short on one because our next episode may be about one of them. I've been playing Ratcoin. I'm obsessed with that little guy and his little coin pusher. It is a roguelike coin pusher. It's exactly as it sounds. You drop coins in. There are wheels that spin and lights that go off, and my brain go brrr and likes it a lot. And so Ratcoin, good game. I need to stop playing Ratcoin so that I can dive back into the other game I've been playing, which is Fishbowl. Fishbowl just
Hell
came
yeah.
out on April 2nd. I shout out to Wholesome for throwing some codes our way. And I'm like 2 hours in. I'm now past the demo. So that there was a demo on Steam. It's like 30-ish minutes. I'm way past that now. And it's just like good, cozy vibes, except for the part where there's, trauma that the main character has to deal with. So I'm enjoying my time. Shout out to Fishbowl. We're going to talk more about it on our next episode.
Hell yeah. I'm excited to jump into the full game. I loved the demo, but haven't sat down. That's like a quiet evening or early morning headphones game for me, so I'm excited to carve out the time. Real quick, I've been playing Super Meat Boy 3D. Kind of obsessed with it. I'm not going to lie. It's hard as hell. I have my problems with it, but I keep going back and, that immediate level restart, one more go. It's real fun. Joseph Hooper.
I've also been playing Super Meat Boy 3D.
Hell yeah.
Oh, snap.
I don't necessarily like the game all that much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like fine, but I can't stop playing it type thing because it was like, meh, I could probably beat this level, and then you beat it and you're like, oh well, it's so easy to get to the next level that I might as well just keep playing. So I'm like on I'm almost done with the game. I feel like I'm on world 4.
Oh shit. I'm
out
on
of 5.
I just got to 2.
Yeah, so it's also that thing where it's like, I could beat this. Like I don't want this game. I don't want to put this game down and be like, yeah, I got the best of you, Joseph Hooper. You'll never beat me. It's like, nah, I'm beating you, buddy.
Do you have issues
it.
with the camera on that one? Because that's my biggest qualm of. I feel like there's the best sections that feel the smoothest are the what I would call 2D plane spaces, and then it has you maneuver around 3D objects in a 2D plane, and you can't always really exactly see where you're going and where you need to be. So there's a little bit of trial and error is my only thing with it. But it's so quick to jump back in, and the levels are so short that I think it works. But for some folks, I think it might be frustrating.
Yeah, I knew even like when I played the demo like last at PAX West, I knew this was going to be the big issue with the game is that like the depth perception of things is just kind of unfair at points. Like, how would you know you need to jump into the screen or dodge something slightly back behind it or in front of it? It's just like not very well telegraphed from that perspective. So yeah, that is my biggest problem. If that wasn't there, I probably would have liked it a lot more because some of the deaths feel a little bit unfair because of that. But overall, decent game. I think people who like this kind of content will enjoy it.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with the time trial stuff and just trying to A+ levels, and man, is it satisfying when you figure out a cool shortcut through the space, and instead of taking 4 jumps to get across an obstacle, you do it all in one giant leap, and then you're jumping off walls and doing cool stuff. So yeah, I think I'm going to stick with it. It's been a nice, like, little quick hit succession at the end of the night between stuff. Claire, what have you been up to? I know the answer, but...
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Papalia. I'm a lot further than I was when we recorded our episode, and I've been doing a lot of building and terraforming, completing quests, meeting a lot of new little guys, and it is a lot of fun. Still loving my Papalia.
Good game, still good game.
Good game, still good game.
20 hours
will keep being
later.
Good game for a long time, and probably is my game of the year. Spoiler alert. Not really.
Yeah, I got to get back into it. I want to build my Blue Lagoon, but the problem is, like, I just feel so overwhelmed going in there and trying to, like, build a blueprint, because I'm like, I don't really remember everything I can put in here, and what if I put in a flooring I don't like, and I have to do it all over again?
Yeah.
This is true.
I'm just slowly poking at it still, and I just want access to the fifth I just want access to that fifth world. I just want it. Just give it to me.
Hell yeah.
Is there a fifth world? There isn't a fifth world, is there?
There is.
Oh.
There are literally 5 of them.
Without spoiling,
Were there not?
This is like the big open zone, we'll say, where you can sandbox stuff.
Doesn't count.
Okay, that's its own thing.
Then I need the 4th.
Yeah, okay.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I gotta get back into it as well. I haven't played in a couple days since we got back from PAX, but I should. Still very much enjoying it.
How can you possibly play? Yeah, I was about to say.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
You are home a lot when I am not home.
Yeah, but I also...
But you work during that
there's
time,
jobs in there as well, so... We'll make it work. Cool. All right. Shall we jump into PAX talk, y'all? Why don't we kick things off with our 4 Game of the Show winners. So as per tradition, if you checked out our socials, you can see who we gave our awards to. It's always fun going out and giving the in-person trophies. Yes, Joseph.
I'm curious, can you guys, like, give an overview of, like, how you thought about PAX this year for people who may have not ever had a chance to go? Talk about your experience and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah, I can kick that off. Generally speaking, PAX is one of my favorite events of the year. It's always a great time to see friends, play some games. Over the years, it's definitely always been more of a community-driven show than like a big major news event like a SGF or a Gamescom, which, you know, we're very akin to at this point. We always have some fun panels. Shout out to Jacob with the trivia panel. Generally, I deemed this in not a derogatory way, lax PAX, of just like very laid back, very relaxed. I didn't have an incredible sense of urgency, and I at no point felt like, oh, I'm going to run out of time and not be able to play everything I want. Like, it was very much like some great games for sure, some wonderful friend hangs, but kind of a quieter show overall, I would say. How'd y'all feel? Kicking it to Jacob.
Yeah, I felt the same. I felt the same way. PAX West of last year, I felt had a lot of cool demos. I came out of it and said, "Man, what am I going to put on my list of my favorite games?" Because there are so many of them. There were way fewer this time around. I think I got to Saturday afternoon and I said, I think I did PAX. I think I'm good. But it's all about the community building and the friends, as you mentioned. So
for sure,
we've got some great games to talk about, but very much. If PAX West feels like spectacle, new games, East very much felt like, yeah, there's some cool stuff. You might have to dig for a little bit, but the floor even felt. I feel like I say this every East. It just feels like 10 or 15% less than I expect. Love love the show, love the friends, but felt a little sparse.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Ditto on what everyone's saying. I will say, if you've never been to a PAX, depending on like what type of gamer you are, I would say like if you listen to this podcast, if you listen to a lot of gaming podcasts, If you've never been to a PAX before, it's probably really exciting. You have like Giant Bomb there. You have a lot of like kind of more niche names in the industry that it's really cool to see in person at least once.
Sure.
If you're a little more casual, still a pretty good opportunity to go and check things out, especially if you don't have a Switch 2, for example. Nintendo line is quite long. It's always been long. But you can try out Pokopia there to see if, hey, maybe this is something I want to invest in the holidays or something like that. So especially if you're on the East Coast, if that's like your only opportunity to go, I would suggest that. Yes, I do think PAX West is more of a annual event for people that are more casual in the industry, because we did play like Pragmata, which is still not out yet, Onimusha, which doesn't have a exact release date. That feels more like oh wow, like I'm getting a peek inside of behind the scenes, or like a peek early at what's going on in the industry. And I think that's kind of like the last place that the public can get that like sneak peek. So yeah, PAX West, I would say annual event, really. That's really the one that I would stake my hat on, not because I'm in Seattle, but just because last year was particularly good. But even PAX East, I think. I remember when I went to my first RTX and I saw like Ray Narvaez Jr. and Gavin Free like walking around and being like, oh my God, this is like insane. This is real life. I'm sure you could get that same feeling at PAX East as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you're shouting out the first time experience too, because I think, Jacob's shouting out his 15th PAX. I think this was Claire and I's 8th, roughly. So it's like, we've done this a fair bit. So it's like some of the novelty has worn off, but I still felt like a kid on Christmas morning seeing the Double Fine booth and getting a bunch of cool merch there. And even if I didn't wait in line for the Nintendo booth, I always loved seeing just like the big presents and folks doing the photo op. And there were a ton of families out this PAX, which was, I just think is really fun. As Claire and I heading into that next chapter in the next couple years of our lives, it's cool just to see of like, man, are we going to take our kids to PAX when they're like 10 years old and play some cool game demos? Because that'll be so fun. So just a lot of good vibes around video games during the weekend, I would say.
Yeah, I also feel like it's worth noting for people who haven't been to a PAX before, that if you, like you were saying, Joseph, if you listen to a lot of podcasts, there's a lot of people around, but also just like if you're that into games and you go to PAX, like the thing that's amazing about PAX is you are surrounded by other people who are also into games, and everyone who's there has this one thing in common. And I think that that's a really powerful thing, to be surrounded by like thousands of other people who all share this at least one, if not several interests, and you can be standing in line for a demo for an hour because the demo's too long, and strike up a conversation with the person next to you and feel like you're talking to someone you've known for a couple of years, and suddenly you have a new friend, and that friend might live on the other side of the country, and now you only get to see them once a year at PAX, but it's still it's still just a really fun like community building experience, and it's like really rejuvenative for us, something we look forward to so much, because it's the one time or two times a year we get to all be together.
This podcast, I was going to say, this podcast might not exist if not for PAX for sure. But I remember I was at the What's Good Games panel at my first PAX, and my buddy Jonathan came up to me while I was playing Hollow Knight in line, not talking to anybody. He was like, hey, like, I like Hollow Knight, and we kicked it off, and we decided to go to the Kind of Funny event together. That's where I met Luke and Claire that night. I don't know if I would have went to that event if I didn't have a guy who was like, hey, like I'm
Come
also
with me.
going there.
Yeah, we were on the fence about going to that too, because we were like, oh, that sounds intimidating. Like we're just two folks, I don't know.
Yeah, so the rest was history.
Hell
but
yeah.
That's the power of PAX, meeting all these like people with like interests. Even this year, I feel like I met so many new people that like, oh, this is my first PAX, or oh, I've heard of you online. It's nice to put a face to a name and everything. So it's still great for that.
Yeah, totally. Shout out to anybody who came up, said hello, mentioned that they listened to the pod. Meant a shit ton. You know what I mean? It still feels surreal that anybody's out there listening to our voices, and it's just really nice to have that community, have that vibe going. So
yeah, I mean, for me, what's significant about this 15th PAX for me is this is now, I have done more as media than like as a fan. or as someone who's just like got the 4-day, and I will never take that for granted. I mean,
Totally.
We all met for the first time at East 22, I think, and so here we are getting nostalgic. Was it West 22 or East 22?
I think it was West, yeah.
You're good. Yeah. Semantic. You know what I mean? It's all good. They all blend together.
Shout out to PAX, I guess.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Well, continuing the shout outs to PAX, we had 4 very big shout outs with our 3D printed trophies. Printed this year by the 3D printed man himself, Jacob McCord. Very nice job on the build quality there. I love the evolution of our trophies for some inside baseball for folks.
Prop time. Nice.
We went from
OG.
the peg design that I famously broke while handing it to Paige from the Aggro Crab team. Love that. And then we have the new one that just slides on and is much harder to break.
Yeah.
Real hard to break.
I haven't tried, but I don't plan to. Awesome. So why don't we just go around the horn and shout out our games of the show? Jacob, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so I gave mine to Crystalmancers from Vania Games. This is a roguelike block smashing puzzle game. I will say the T word because I don't work for Vania Games. It uses the Tetramino, except that it remixes it in a very cool way, where it is not the traditional shapes of Tetraminos. It is those plus you can actually modify them into whole new shapes. And instead of the blocks dropping onto the grid, it is actually you placing them on the grid and trying to defeat enemies that are in front of you by making combos. Crystalmancers was so sick. I liked it a lot. It's currently slated for 2027. There is not a demo online, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it that it's a cool ass game, but one to watch as we enter 2027 because it was cool as shit.
Heck yeah.
I really enjoyed this one. This is my public plea to Vania Games. I'm going to look into the camera right here. Please, Vania Games, please put up a trailer or put up a demo so that I can get footage of this game so I can make a video out of it. I would have loved to make a video this past week, and I'm like, I only got 6 screenshots, unfortunately. So hit me up. You can even just send me an email with a Google Drive link, and I'll make a video about this. I promise. I pinky promise. So this was awesome. This was one of those ones where it's like more than meets the eye, because I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, it's the T-word game. And I played it, and I was like, wait, actually, this is pretty sick in terms of, like, you can reconfigure the blocks, and you have a rune system, everything, which I thought was really cool. And it's not time-based, because you're battling enemies with your screen as well. So, really cool. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I really dug it. Shout out to a friend of the show, Katie, who put this one on my radar, and then it felt like it was like a domino effect of everyone in our friend group swinging by the booth to check it out, but... Yeah, it kind of threw me off at the beginning that it wasn't time-based, so I was like, oh, I should take my time more and, like, think about this a little bit and be a little more methodical, but, yeah, I loved the little subtle differences, and I thought it played really well, and I'm excited to see, like, late-game crazy stuff that you can do with the different abilities and whatnot.
Joseph, I have some good news for you that I just discovered by poking my head into the Discord for Crystalmancers.
No way.
There is an itch.io demo that you can grab and download. So,
all right, we're about to do it.
We will be doing it. Hell yeah! All right, Crystalmancers was that one. I can go next with mine. My game of the show was a upcoming Metroidvania called Gnaw. You play as a dinosaur in New Dino City, and you're exploring this mystery, and it's really, really awesome Saturday morning cartoon vibes. Really reminded me of the Drinkbox games, if you love Tales from Space About a Blob or Guacamelee, or Nobody Saves the World. Similar energy and tone and really, really vibrant art style. This was one of those for me that it was just a really polished demo. I thought it played really well. I enjoyed the platforming. You're chomping as your dinosaur. You get different abilities as you're progressing through the world. You're swinging on lampposts and doing different things. I fought a giant rat, played some basketball. There's just like some really fun character to this one that I really had a nice time with. Currently, they have a Steam demo available on their Steam page. It's about a 90-minute demo, so pretty meaty.
Wow.
Yeah, multiple bosses, lots to explore, so you get a really good sense of the game. But I was just very, very impressed with the game and got to meet a ton of the team. John, I believe, is the creative director on the project. I also met the game's composer and the art director. Lovely group of folks. Shout out to Redstart Interactive working on this one. This was one of the PAX Rising titles as well, which that whole lineup this year I thought was really, really stellar. A lot of great indie bangers for sure.
I think Amanda Farrow is also writing on it, who we awarded Terrible Lizards, our game of show, I think, at West. She was also writing on it, so there's a fun through line between our awards.
Yeah, there's some fun sense of humor in this one as well, and it was pretty funny. A friend of the show, Dave Jackson from Tales from the Backlog, had an appointment right before me, and so he was playing, and I was watching over his shoulder while I was waiting for a demo station to open up, and he got to this giant rat boss, and the rat boss was named Lewis, and he turned around to me, and we both went, Lewis, and then I handed one of the development team my business card at the end of my appointment, and they looked at my business card, and they laughed at Lewis, and we had a memorable moment over the rat boss being my namesake, so shout out.
Great demo. I played it. I didn't play it at PAX, but I played it when I got home, downloaded it. This game feels like it's almost done.
That's good. That's what the thing for me was, where like I played a ton of cool stuff, but this game I was like, I can just go home now. Like, we can just keep this rolling, because real well solid. And they, just as a logistical shout out, having worked a lot of booths over these last couple years on the PR side, I really appreciated that they had preview keys locked and loaded on their postcards that they were handing out to folks. I saw a ton of families roll up being like, oh, dinosaur game, this looks amazing. But there was a pretty big line, and they were just able to be like, here, go home, play 90 minutes of the game right now. And that was just like a really cool word of mouth thing that I think worked really well for them. So good stuff. Awesome. Joseph, I'm going to kick it to you for Tales of Tuscany. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, Tales of Tuscany is what I call an Undertale-like. It is really goofy, really funny, and this is like never let them know your next move type beat of a game, as you can see by the trailer that just played on screen. The idea, I can't even tell you what the idea of the story is. Like, you basically meet this stranger, and he's like, hey, what's up? I'm a stranger. I'm just hanging out, chilling. And then he ends up being the bad guy that is a meteor that hits your town, and it may or may not have killed your grandma. I don't know. But now you're like looking to search for all your like little brothers and sisters and get them all back together. I think that's the plot, but also you're lifting weights, as you can see in the trailer. Like, you're meeting all these like wacky characters, and it's just one of those that it's like, okay, gameplay, fine, creative, whatever, but it's really more about the laughs and the gags that you see along the way, which there are a lot of. So I was very surprised when I like actually started playing and the jokes kept flowing. And once we gave our award to Nico, the developer, it was like, okay, this is very apparent what's going on here, because the dude was hilarious. He was so excited to get the award, but also cracking a bunch of jokes at the same time. Somewhere there's a photo of me and him on his dad's phone, which is hilarious as well. Like, I'm like, dude, I just love everything about this. And I'm like one of those people that is like, hey, if we can have a game that's actually funny, get some limelight, I'm all for that. Like, there's very few that I feel like lean hard into the comedy angle. So yeah, Tales of Tuscany, I'm very excited to play this when it comes out. It'll be a day one appointment for me.
Awesome. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to play this one, but just seeing it and hearing your impressions, and then meeting Nico, and his energy was just contagious in the best way of, like, it was just immediate that he's really passionate about what he's doing over here, and excited for more comedy. I think we might be in the golden era of comedy in games, like coming off of Thanks Goodness You're Here. We had Hermit and Pig earlier this year. Like, let's lean into the weird shit. Why not?
The Dungeon Experience, which I think is coming out pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
That one's going to be bizarre. So I'm very
also,
excited
what's
for
the
that
one
too.
about the arms, the jelly arms on a subway?
Oh,
that one too?
Yes. I just saw a GameSpot thing about that because Lucy James was talking about it. Blanket. I wishlisted it immediately.
My arms are longer now,
yes.
I think, and that one's being published by Jackbox. So
cool.
Nice.
Good stuff. All right, Tales from Tuscany. Claire, I'm going to go to you next for your game of the show.
Yeah. I gave my Game of the Show award to ShantyTown, which has been on my radar for some time. I think I've talked about it before on the podcast.
I think it was on your most anticipated list. Yeah.
It basically looks like Tiny Glade, but urban and with objectives. The thing that really draws me to this is like the lighting and just the aesthetic, as you can see on the trailer that's playing on the screen. It takes urban and almost like, and just like very lived in and almost sometimes run down environments, and then like romanticizes them. And I just think that that's a really cool thing, that instead of like escapism fantasy of, you know, far off lands or worlds that don't exist, it's like, no, we're romanticizing the day-to-day spaces that we live in. And I think that, like I said, the lighting looks really cool. And actually playing the demo, the thing that I really loved was how intuitive it felt and how easily things snapped into place. Like I was placing chairs around a table and it automatically was like, oh, you probably want it to be at like this angle, and I rotate it a little bit. Oh, and then it like just snaps into really aesthetically pleasing angles and places, and there are a lot of variants, so I could like flip through all the different chair options, which is something I definitely missed in Tiny Glade. Of like felt very in a corner for what you could do, but there are so many endless possibilities in ShantyTown, and you also have objectives, so it's not just a sandbox. You get to have to like meet the needs of the people who are going to be living in those spaces. So like I said, it feels really lived in, and that's really appealing to me too. Just like creating these spaces that feel like real people live there, and you want to make sure that they are meeting those people's needs. And when you do, you get to level up the spaces and they look like more aesthetic, and you have more options for what you can do. So I played like 10 minutes of this and I was like, yep,
Sold.
This is awesome. Can't wait for it. It comes out really soon. I think it comes out.
It's like in 10 days or something.
The 16th.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting here like, cannot wait. Very, very soon. Like counting down the time. I cannot wait to play this. It looks so cool and it feels so good.
Is there at least from what you saw in the 10 minutes, I mean, we see it in the trailer here, but there seems to be a variety of different biomes.
Yeah.
Where I think of Shantytown, I'm like, like a Netherlands, like almost Amsterdam was the initial vibes. But tell me about the different biomes you saw.
So I only did one, and it was like a tropical dock area.
Yeah, it was more like South American favela.
It definitely there are definitely different biomes. As you can see, there are more tropical spaces, like the inside of a broken down something or other, more like almost post-apocalyptic feeling spaces. And I can't remember how many you said, but it sounds like there are quite a variety of different spaces that you can explore and really do whatever you want with. Which I think is really cool. So like, yeah, on this trailer you can see that there are a variety of different environments, and nighttime, daytime, all that. And it looks like there are some spaces that feel more like Japan, East Asian inspired, and some that feel different. You know, there's a variety.
Yeah, I was really impressed just watching you go through the demo of just like the ease of use, which, like you said, is something we saw in Tiny Glade, but I think this takes it in an interesting direction.
Yeah.
Like, aesthetically, because there's just so many little details that you're playing with, less of a focus on terraforming and more of a focus on just, like, interacting with objects within the environment in cool ways.
Yeah.
So, super excited. I'm sure we'll chat about this one once you jump into the full game here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Soon. Awesome. All right. I think that covers all of our games of the show, but we played a bunch more stuff. So in no particular order, we're going to shout out a bunch of honorable mentions that were, we all played a lot of these, and then there were some select hits where only a couple of us checked it out. But Jacob, kicking it back to you for Moldwashing. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, Moldwasher is a game about cleaning mold from the house as a little sushi person. You are essentially, what are those, the type of sushi where there's a bed of rice and then there's the fish on top? I forget. But either way, you play as this little dude, and I don't know how it'll work on a controller or if it can work on controller, but essentially you move around your little guy, WASD, and you mouse around to clean areas. So the perspective is almost top down, where you're cleaning with your pressure washer different areas of the house as a little small dude. So it'll be like, hey, clean the fridge, clean this corner of a cabinet, clean this little garage. And the levels are quick. You can upgrade tools. I think I played the demo for maybe 10 minutes and I already saw a decent amount of progression. So this to me feels like a game that'll just be a couple of hours. The music vibes are great. It's all different sorts of lo-fi, and it's something that I played 10 minutes and then I stopped and said, I'm just gonna play this when it comes out.
Yeah.
And so
Nice.
Moldwasher for all my power wash simulator sickos out there. Obviously the perspective is different, but the vibes are similar.
Yeah. Looks so satisfying.
Yeah, it looks cool. It looks like it'll scratch that itch of, I know you and I both got into Lottle Knot a couple years back.
Yeah.
Similar energy of just like chill, accomplish
100.
some goals, vibe out. I
Yes.
like the look of it. I think it gives it a distinct kind of flair with that visual perspective and whatnot. Nice.
Even the overworld or the level select, there's different elements of it that you can clean that appear over time. So there's like a VCR that you can clean and gather tapes, and there are stickers that you can clean and then put in your sort of level select, your home base, if you will. I didn't get to see any of the other tools in it, so I just saw the power washer, but beyond that, there are other tools that you'll end up collecting over time. It seemed cool.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
I hate mold.
I want to wash it, so this is good.
What a hot take.
Awesome. Next up, I played Replaced, which I know we've talked about on the show a couple times. I know, Joseph, you got to play it during Next Fest, but this was my first time going hands-on. And I was definitely I'm skeptical about this game, but I want it to be real good. But Claire and I got a chance to go hands-on at the Atari booth in partnership with Thunderful, and this game is rad as hell.
Yeah.
I really loved what I played of the demo. I thought the combat specifically, I was really impressed with just how weighty punches and counters felt. And it's just a really, really cool vibe. I think the art style is incredibly well realized with the pixel art, the lighting, the cinematics. The story I'm intrigued by, the little details of menu UI tidbits and things. I'm going down the weeds here, but for folks that have no idea what Replaced is, this one is a cinematic platformer action game with Batman Arkham style combat. You're a detective exploring this world, trying to uncover this mystery. You're finding notes and computer terminals and things along the way, and some light puzzle solving. But yeah, just immaculate, to be honest.
Yeah.
This was easily one of my favorite things I played all weekend.
Absolutely. I really loved the lighting, and I was also really impressed by how realized the world building felt, and the narrative elements too. We just got a tiny snapshot, but I'm really excited to see where this goes because it feels like it really has something.
Yeah, I think that the big news for us that we didn't realize, you mentioned the Atari thing. In December of 25, Atari bought up 90% of Thunderful.
Totally missed that
And-
news.
Yeah, I don't know if it was widely publicized or whatever, but so it was a pleasant surprise to see this. And another one that is literally just around the corner. Does it come out the same day as ShantyTown?
2
on the
days
14th of April?
This is 14th, and then Shanty is 16th, I believe.
Great.
It's a crazy week, though, because then we got Mouse PI on the 16th.
April
and
is crazy.
Vampire Crawlers is coming, and a bunch
Oh my
of
God,
other stuff.
what?
Yeah. 21st.
Indie-geddon.
It is Indie-geddon. It's crazy.
I'll see you all in June.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. It'll be a good time. We got a lot to play on these next couple of weeks. But that said, Replaced should absolutely be on your radar. Absolutely worth the hype. Absolutely worth the wait. Legitimately cannot wait for this one. Joseph, I'm going to kick it back to you for Memoria Wake.
Yeah, I don't know if I talked about this one previous years, but this is one that I played at one PAX a couple years ago, made by a bunch of Carnegie Mellon students. I would say it's very like Death's Door adjacent, where you have like this isometric top-down view, and you have a little guy that's just fighting for his life with like these Souls-like mechanics. I just really enjoy the style of this game. It just looks really fun. The combat feels pretty good. Like there's a nice little parry in there. So I just kind of love experimenting and fighting around with the enemies and stuff like that. The game definitely needs a bit of polish, just because it's still pretty early. So like some boss projectiles didn't behave properly, and I kind of got to cheese the boss that I fought a little bit. I thought the puzzle level that I played wasn't like the best telegraphed in terms of like what I was supposed to do, but like this game has a lot of promise. I think it has the visual style, the level design is there, and the combat is there. It just needs a little bit of polish, but I was very impressed, even to like see how far the game has come since I played that first original demo. Was very awesome. So just want to give this team their props. And yeah, man, I'm excited to see what the final product looks like.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there a super soaker that you get to use? I saw a super soaker get pulled out.
Yeah, you get this like little toy super soaker. Like the idea is like you're in this kind of like dream world. You play as a little boy with a mask, and you're in his dream world, and you're trying to get out or something like that. So there's a lot of like dream-like elements to it, where it's just like anything kind of goes, which is really cool. So yeah, you'll see a lot of interesting stuff in there.
I like the vibes. This looks really neat.
Yeah. I played the demo at West, and it sounds like it's gotten a lot, they've worked out a lot of the jank, but I did also see a lot of the bugginess, and it also is just like pretty punishing, but very cool, and very, very cool visual style, and just like what they're trying to do with the dream elements, I think has a lot of potential, like you said. So I'm glad to hear it's getting better, and I hope that they continue to polish it off.
Love it. Next up, Claire, tell us about Oku.
Yeah, Oku. This is like going into PAX East, I was like, this is something I have to play, more than I think pretty much anything else. I can't remember where I'd heard about it before, but anyway, you play as this poet who is going and writing haikus in order to advance through the environment. There's also this really cool traversal element that you just saw in the trailer, where you are kind of skating around the environment. You're riding the wind, and it feels there are a couple other games that have done this recently, where you are just quickly and smoothly gliding through the environments. And there are some platforming challenges with that too, where like if you circle around the lotus flower, it blooms and does something, and then you can launch through the air and jump and spin. And that all felt really smooth and really cool. But you're also going through the environments and collecting like visual scenery. Like you can stand at this vantage point and look at the bamboo and the mountains and the waterfall, and then you can sit there and you can write a haiku. And I thought it was really cool that the demo station, actually all the haikus I wrote in the demo printed out on a little piece of paper, and I got to take that with me. So that was a cute little activation that they did there.
Yeah, that was a great idea.
And I was really skeptical about how the actual poem writing would feel, because that sort of creative element can be kind of tricky to pull off in a game if you're not. And then, like lately, some people have been doing that kind of thing with AI, which heck no from me. So basically, you are it's like fill in the blank. But as you explore, you can collect, by completing challenges in the environment, different sentence structures, which I thought was really cool. So it's like you start off with maybe 3 sentence structures you can use for each line, but then if you complete an environmental challenge, which is like going up to this bell and then ding ding ding, collect all the white petals in the next 30 seconds by skating around, that kind of thing, I unlocked a new sentence structure, and that can make my poem have more variety. And then in order to like progress through the gate, I had to write my poem about 3 specific things. So I had to explore the environment and find the waterfall that I could then use as inspiration. And then I got to like the final challenge area for the demo, and it was now you actually do have to count your syllables. Before it was a little loosey-goosey with the syllables, but for this one you actually have to count them and make it fit, or it won't work. So there was like that level of challenge, but also of free form, just do what you want and explore. And the visual style is also really stunning, very much inspired by the ancient Japanese artwork. So I thought that there was a lot going on in this game that I appreciated, and I'm excited to see more of it.
I have seen this, and I was like, where did I see this? It was our friends at 61 Indie that showed it in their September showcase.
Nice.
And so that's why I was like, why.
familiar.
That's why.
Yeah.
I like the combination of like the fluid motion of moving through the world and then doing the haiku style puzzle solving in it.
Yeah.
It looks like just the right amount of involvement for the haikus, kind of like you were saying, because when I first heard about this game, my immediate thought was, oh, is it typing stuff, responding with AI, doing weird things?
Yeah.
But it sounds like they're doing a very intentional approach to that creative aspect of the game, so that's really cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
for sure.
And it looks like it moves like Wavetail, if y'all remember that one a couple years ago.
Yeah.
With the stamina wheel that you expect to see in like a Breath of the Wild esque game, and so that's a lot of elements that sound cool to me.
They all work together really smoothly, but it's also like it's not just doing one thing; you're doing enough different things that it was interesting. And I also during the demo leveled up my stamina wheel twice, and it felt so cool to like jump around the clouds, and get those boosts. Like the platforming felt really good too.
Hell yeah!
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
All right, continuing on. Jacob, you have a game that I think a bunch of us played and really enjoyed. Tell us about Grave Seasons.
Yeah, so Grave Seasons, weirdly enough, they announced a date while we were at PAX East for it. It is a half farming sim that you would expect in sort of a Stardew Valley or a Story of Seasons, but also there is there's always story in these type of games, but the story twist on top of the farming sim is that there's murder happening. And so the demo that we saw was 1 day at PAX, and also I want to shout out that it's a Blumhouse game, and so the line was at least an hour minimum every single day, sometimes 2 hours. And the demo was 10 minutes long 1 day, and it gave you a little bit of the farming. It kind of set up the farm for you, so you didn't really get to see what it was like to grow something from the start, but it was more about exploration, talking to the town, getting items. And the cool thing, you'll see it right here in the trailer if you're watching the video version, is you can break into people's houses, and sometimes that'll affect the relationship that you have with them. And so I'm not a farming sim person, but I think the sort of twist of murder happening that you have to solve on top was enough to say, okay, let's try this out. This one comes from Perfect Garbage, and I'm stoked for it. August 14th for this one. For anyone else who played, jump in.
Yeah, I can jump in. We also went to friend of the show Jenny Wyndham hosted a indie horror game panel about environmental storytelling with some of the devs from Perfect Garbage and also Hannah from Black Salt Games, who was the team behind Dredge. So that was a really, really cool panel discussion, and it was fun to hear like insight into the development process since we haven't gotten a chance to play the full game of Grave Seasons. But yeah, similar to you, Jacob, not typically a farming sim person. I always want to love them, play a couple hours and fall off. So this one with the story really intrigues me. I thought the writing was really, really strong in the demo that we played. And yeah, I'm super intrigued to find out what the heck's going on. I want to break into people's houses. I want to read all these notes, find out what's happening. And also the food looks really tasty. On an unrelated, not horror side tangent, I just think this game is a really pretty visual aesthetic.
And all the characters are hot. It's very much like Spirit Swap, where all characters hot.
Yep.
Or like Hades, because like they have
does that like character
the breakout picture portrait.
Sure.
The thing that really intrigued
I'll turn it to Claire. You're the person we need to hear from on this farming aspect.
I was gonna say the thing that really intrigued me is the different paths it sounds like your story can take depending on who you talk to and what you do. Like you can end up dating the murderer, and like it sounds like different people may or may not get killed depending on who you talk to and what you do. And I think that that's really cool. I think that the farming itself looks really great. Like you have so many different recipe options to create, and there are all of there's like the ore and it looks like there's like fermenting. So there's different things you can do in your house as you level up, which obviously is super great for any farming sim. But then there are so many characters to talk to, it looks like, and they're really interesting characters. And how that ties into the murderer element and the supernatural elements. And the dark stuff does look pretty dark and very spooky. So how all that comes together, I think, is going to be really cool.
I had no idea it was happening because it's a giant shadow that is, I guess, spoilers for a demo for Grave Seasons.
Sure.
big red and black shadow claw that comes and kills one of the characters in the game. And so I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm curious what the balance is going to be like in this, because I don't mind farming some elements, but I really do need like a goal, something driving me on the other side to like keep me invested, kind of like the Pocopia aspect of everything. So hopefully there's a pretty 50-50 balance between farming sim and like investigative horror game.
The dev did say that the day that we played, which is the first day that something happens, is 1 month into the game. So you play through 1 month of farming sim, meeting characters, getting to know people, exploring, learning about the town, and then this kind of cataclysmic thing happens, and now it's like now you got to investigate on top of everything else. And I think that could potentially, I don't know how long the days are. It might have some people think that it's a little bit slow getting into the that element of the game, but it also, based on the very short 10-minute day that I played as the demo, I think that is great because you actually get to know these characters before things start happening to them. So the opportunity to get to know people and build relationships and actually farm before shit starts going down, I think could be beneficial. This is one of those demos where usually I don't like to look over people's shoulders because I don't want the demo spoiled for me before I get up there to play it myself. And this was not that. I am really glad that I watched everyone in front of me because everyone had a different experience. And I think that was pretty cool to see.
It seems like, too, from listening to the devs talk about it, that you can kind of take it at your own pace of, like, in a Stardew sense of you can end your days quicker if you want to progress the story faster, or you can kind of live in that moment in the farming sim elements of the game. They described it as, like, having this balance of, like a Resident Evil safe room, where you get to the safe room and you feel okay for a little bit. Like, the farming in this game is kind of meant to be that of, like, a nice little reprieve before you get back to the murder investigation, sinister narrative.
I wonder if it'll feel at any point like, I don't care about my tomatoes, Nancy is dead.
I think it will. And then it's up to you if, like, you want to tend to your tomatoes and calm down from what just happened, or if you want to keep going with the story. So, yeah, I'm super
Offer
sold.
your tomatoes to the shadow god that's killing all your
kill
friends.
Me. We'll make a nice BLT. It'll be great. So this was Grave Seasons from Perfect Garbage coming in August. And demo coming soon, according to the most recent trailer. So keep your eye on the Steam page for that. Next up, I want to chat about Canvas City, which I had not heard about at all. Jacob, I know you played this one as well. I want to hear your thoughts. This is from Disc 2 Games. So for folks that aren't familiar, this is a spin-off studio from the Black Salt Games folks that worked on Dredge. This is a totally different genre of games, but I think still speaks to the quality and the development skill of this team. But quick elevator pitch for this one. It is a XCOM style tactics game, team-based tactics game set in a hyper colorful jet set radio roller skating world. Super, super fun. The main shtick with this one that I want to shout out for folks that enjoy tactics games but maybe struggle with the pacing. This one's all about fluid motion. So in your turns, you're hitting ramps, grinding on rails, and attacking your enemies all in one fluid turn. And I just thought the pace was really, really fun. Cool style, cool vibes. This one seems pretty early in development, but I'm excited to follow along for the journey, and I was very sold on just the base gameplay loop and the core concept of this one. What did you think, Jacob, as our resident tactician expert, I would say, on the pod?
I think that the core of it seemed really great. I think that there was some UI stuff that I think still needs to get worked out. It was, at times, I feel a little bit difficult to know exactly where your dudette would land, and also the things that you can accomplish in a turn. But the core of it was really good, and it was sort of challenging. I consider myself someone who plays a lot of these style of games. Garbage at video games broadly, but I have a base level of skill. This one was kind of tough, and so obviously very early at this stage, but given the pedigree and what I played, I'm stoked for this one when it comes out.
Hell yeah. Love to hear it. Yeah, similar thought of just like it took me a second to get a handle on the gameplay loop, and then specifically I had a hard time identifying who was my team and who was an enemy, just because the character designs are kind of similar. But once I kind of got the loop down, I was pretty in. So excited for that one. That's Canvas City. Joseph.
I kept wanting to call it Circuit City for some reason.
Maybe
but
it's that is a branding with the key art. I don't, or
maybe
Circuit City was orange, or maybe I'm thinking Home Depot. These are totally unrelated things, y'all. Game's great.
Radio Shack.
Shout out Radio Shack.
Shout out Home Depot. No, they're an NFT thing. Let's not shout out Radio Shack anymore.
Yeah, fair.
I'm talking about old Radio Shack.
Old Radio Shack.
Old Radio Shack, not new Radio Shack. Got it.
I did not know there was any of that going on, but okay.
Moving right along, Joseph, you and Claire and I all played Dreadmoor. Give us the pitch for this one.
Yeah, the pitch, if you've ever played Dredge, this game is just that. It's like it's just Dredge, and then they added the words 3D at the back. That's essentially Dreadmoor. I feel even bad kind of highlighting this game, because I'm like, this is kind of a blatant ripoff. It's a Pal World, a Mega Bonk, but for Dredge. But I had a lot of fun. Because I like Dredge, so obviously I like this. Like driving around these Lovecraftian waters in the dark, walking up on these really weird-looking vendor guys, fishing all these weird, abnormal creatures. I mean, like, what's not to love about that stuff? So yeah, my entire demo experience, 90% of it was just Dredge-like gameplay. There was 10% of it that was like, oh, unblock this area by shifting these like waterways or something like that, which was interesting. And then I fished some stuff out of the water, like parts and stuff. But yeah, it was kind of a ripoff. The saving grace, I will say, in the trailer, which I did not see in the demo, there were some gameplay things where I was like, oh, this is cool, this is neat. Like in the trailer, you're fighting like a monster in like the bowels of a ship or something. And I'm like, oh, what the hell? That's pretty wild. So hopefully once the game is all said and done, the experience does kind of differentiate itself enough to like have it feel like it is innovating in some aspects. But yeah, I had a good time. The sensitivity was crazy on controller. Like I could barely touch the right stick and the camera would fly. Like I even went into the settings. I tried to tweak. I turned it all the way down. It still was crazy. So I played mouse and keyboard, and then everything was pretty solid from there on. But Luke, I know you said your playthrough was completely bugged.
Yeah, I ran into some pretty significant technical issues where like I couldn't dock my ship. It just kept spinning, so I had to restart and get some help with it. I had an issue where like when it was tutorializing the fishing, it just didn't prompt me to get my rod out, even though I had picked it up from the quest. But I think the game is pretty early in that sense, so I'm confident that things will be ironed out by the time it officially releases. But yeah, I think this was quite cool. The one like up I would give on it, that it differentiates it from Dredge a little bit, is the like Southern Bayou aesthetic, kind of similar to a South of Midnight. I thought was pretty cool, and visually I thought the lighting and just general art direction of the game was quite good. Obviously I'm a Dredge sicko, so give me more Dredge. I'm not going to be mad at it. I put like 40 hours into Megabonk and even more into Vampire Survivors, so I don't mind an inspiration, but yeah, I don't disagree with you that it is very similar, but those similarities are good gameplay hooks.
I really like the first person elements. Sorry, I didn't mean to stumble over your joke. It was a good joke.
You know, humor is subjective, as we say.
Sorry, I was like just thinking too far ahead. I really like the first person elements. I thought that set it apart for me. As a person who Dredge didn't necessarily grab, didn't get its hooks in me. There you go. Throw it back.
And now you're just stealing jokes, but
she just Dreadmoored your joke, right?
Yeah, pulling a Dreadmoor.
I thought, to your point about the first person, like the crafting bench stuff was neat. like seeing your different materials and like physically picking up this item to then blend it with this item is cool. But yeah, it's on our radar. I'm excited to keep an eye on it. Claire, we're gonna totally shift vibes here. Talk to us about Cat Secretary.
All right. Speaking of games that seem like they're just other games that we like, but slightly to the left, Cat Secretary has big little kitty, big city energy. I was listening to the dev talk a little bit about how they had come up with their concept and they were gonna. Oh, MJ's here. She heard we were talking about the cat game. Little Kitty Big City came out and they were like, okay, well, we gotta do some things different so that this game doesn't feel like it's too similar. So, like, they were gonna do hats, but now they do outfits instead of hats. So you are collecting things too. But I think the thing for Cat Secretary that I'm really interested in is the story of how you are, for some reason, a cat who's been hired by a very human company. Which is business basically Disney, if Disney wasn't quite as big as Disney is, who's going full AI, and like firing all their people and replacing them with AI and / maybe turning them into robots, hard to say. And it is your job to try to take that down, shut that shit down, take down the company and the AI takeover, and you're just a little kitty cat with your little mouse friend running around. During the day, you are doing jobs around the office, like sorting files and filling the coffee machine and talking to your coworker or listening to your coworkers to try to figure out how to raise morale. And then at night, you are sleuthing. The puzzle solving was kind of fun, kind of quirky. The dialogue from the humans and things, it was a little bit like almost sardonic humor, and felt very much like burnt out employees talk about their jobs. And I just found it very relatable, very cute, excited to collect different outfits and collectibles and things around the office. And I think that there's elements of this that seem like it might be kind of early, in terms of like how sparse things are in the world. But also it's just a demo. I'm excited to see what this full game is like.
Yeah, I demoed this one at West, and so even looking at this trailer, it seems like things have been built out a little bit. So this one still doesn't have a date, though, right?
I don't think so, no. I think it's still coming soon.
Okay. 26, got it.
Okay.
Yeah, this one wasn't on my radar. Somehow I missed it, but sucker for a cat game. As a cat closet or window next to us.
Choose on our blind.
Yeah, it looks really fun.
Nice.
All right. Jacob, bringing it back around for Cursed Chapter.
Yeah, so this is a kind of a nice little surprise for me at PAX East. I had not heard, or maybe I'd heard but not registered Colorgrave as a developer publisher. They have a series of games that have this old school. It's almost like they're a developer built in the shadow of Yacht Club, non-derogatory, where they're making these cool little old school side-scrolling games. One of their last games is one that you might have heard of, is Claire a la Mode, I think. And that one, looking at it, gave me very like Tiny Toon Adventure vibes from back in the day. This is very much just you are a person and you have a weapon that has like a one of those ball and chain sort of weapons, where it was just it felt really good 2D platformer with some light storytelling throughout. If it's a game that's a couple of hours and maintains this cool core mechanic of using this flail, I think is what those are called, it's going to be cool. And it's definitely made me say, hey, I should go back and play some of Colorgrave's old games, because I think you can get them all in a bundle. They're all relatively cheap, and they've put out in the last 5 years, this will be their 6th game that they've put out. So shout out to Colorgrave. And they were doing this cool thing with trading cards at East, where they would give you a pack of trading cards with 7 cards in them. There were 7 games in the series, but you definitely had duplicates in your pack. So you needed to go and find someone who had also played the game to trade. And if you got all 7 cards, they would give you a game code for one of their past games. So shout out to Colorgrave. Shout out to this one. It's, again, Cursed Chapter Dawn Thief, which seems like it's maybe a spiritual successor or another game in their series of Curse Crackers is another one. So that's a lot of words, but cool game.
It is. This is very Shovel Knight coded. Not only in art style, but they do the similar thing where this game, I think the main character in this game is a character in the audio's loud. It's okay. The main character in this game is a character that was in like the previous game, like Curse Crackers or whatever. So it definitely has that like Shovel Knight, we're continuing the story type vibe. But yeah, this is another big surprise for me where I played and I was like, oh, we're actually doing stuff here. They're kind of cooking. So excited to see this one come out.
Yeah, I've never heard of this dev, but looks really up my alley. So very excited and love a short game, love a classic platformer. Next up, keeping the train moving, I'm going to talk about Inkblood, which I know a bunch of us really enjoyed. For fans of Case of the Golden Idol or Sansa Blake Manor last year, we're continuing the cool murder mystery adventure style point and click game with this one. I really enjoyed the gameplay loop and the way that it approaches investigation. You're scanning pictures for additional clues, you're reading letters, and at the end of each level you are piecing together what exactly happened and physically entering who the culprit was, who was murdered, where it happened, where their body is, and then you're finding photographic evidence in the images to document your findings and prove your case, and then you use an old school rotary phone to make the call, give your answers, and then you're told whether or not you got it right. And yeah, just the overall tone and presentation of this one I thought was really neat, and the moment to moment gameplay I thought was quite fun. And in a style of game where trial and error can be frustrating, I think this one was quite cool because you didn't progress until you get it right, but there was some fun rhyme and reason to the moment to moment puzzle solving.
It reminded me of the logic puzzles that I used to like as a kid, where you have to like process of elimination, figure things out using the different clues, and vibes are very dark academia, very cool.
Yeah, I think that the demo maybe was for the show floor was maybe not the right demo, but I had played this one also in the Critical Reflex booth, and you've said it, it's got the Golden Idol kind of vibes to it, so I'll be checking it out. It's even got the character movement from that, of how the characters feel like they're in a maquette and they're just moving a little bit. I'm in, but maybe not the best demo for the floor.
You know what? I'll counter that and say I love the demo on the floor. How dare you?
I'm a dumb, so maybe it's just not for dumbs, you know?
If this game comes out, and this was one of the ones where I was like, damn, I actually wish it was longer, or I wish you had at least like one more thing in there, because I was like, damn, I really got to see more. If this game comes out in this year, this will probably be on my top 10 list, no question.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Like because like this is my perfect type of gameplay. I love puzzle games. I love dark vibes. And it seems like they mix them perfectly, and I'm very curious how it all like comes together. I know Case of the Golden Idol, especially the second one. What is the second one called?
Rise
of the Golden Idol.
Yes. Sorry,
right.
I was overthinking it.
Rise of the Golden Idol really does a great job at like bridging the story together, and really having it come together at the end. This one looks like it's going to do a good job as well. And I love like the concept of Inquisitors. Like the idea of Inquisitors are really messed up and weird. So I'm excited to see how they play with that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Moving on to your last game, Joseph, where you proved that you are the best gamer among us. Tales of Fate. What's this one about?
Yeah, Tales of Fate is an interesting game. It's like an action-adventure platformer. I think, Luke, you might be referring to Memoria Awake, where I was the third person.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Let's go ahead and make that now.
We got to get the record straight. You still are the best gamer among us, so.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, so Memoria Awake, I was the third person at PAX West to beat that boss. I would have been the first if people weren't waiting in line. But Tales of Fate is an action adventure like Metroidvania. Like the cool twist here is that you have 3 characters, and you can switch to the characters like Marvel versus Capcom style. So if you're about to take damage, you can switch to a more tankier character to take the hit. So there's a lot of like risk reward, like strategical planning in battles, as you'll see in like this little video that they showed. You switch to the pig,
Cool.
and then you unleash the pig attack instead of the fox nimble attack. I think the art in this game is incredible. The art, the main person working on the art was there
Wow.
at PAX, and the whole team is like all split across the world. One is in China, one is in London, I believe, and the other one is in somewhere in the Middle East, I want to say. So it's really cool that they're all still like, you know, able to coordinate and get stuff done on this game. My like critique would be like the platforming didn't feel as great as I wanted to. Like, you know, that's for people who play a lot of these 2D Metroidvanias. Platforming really needs to be, there's a high bar there. So I think that can be tuned, but yeah, other than that, I had a great time with everything they showed, and I think really it's only the polish, and then depending on like the amount of content that they have is going to be like the defining factor, because they definitely have a strong idea with this one.
Nice. Yeah, it's really beautiful looking.
Yeah, the art style looks rad, and I missed this. You might have mentioned this too, but in the trailer they shout out that the composer of the game worked on Monster Hunter and Mega Man Legends, or Mega Man X. Maybe I misquoted it, but I think some banger music
that's
coming
what it
for this
said on
one.
the little
Yeah. Yeah.
The particle effects just look awesome in this.
Hell yeah.
Also.
Yeah. The art person used to work in movies, I believe,
Oh, neat.
until COVID hit, and this is their first time ever doing pixel art. So
Cool.
they learned right when they joined this game, and clearly they were in their Duffy, because
Yeah.
damn, that's great.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
They were in their Duffy. That's a new
like
one.
their duffel bag.
Oh, got
For
it,
people
got
that
it, got
don't
it.
know,
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm old, so this new slang.
Boomer alert! Boomer alert!
Next up, Claire, you're talking about Reclaim.
Yes. So I played Reclaim Azhe-giiwewining. This is an Ojibwe language game. And I got to chat with the dev a little bit about it. It's out now. It actually came out during PAX, which was super cool.
Oh, sick.
It's a point-and-click adventure game, starring a Ojibwe young person who is going on a quest to get home and interacting with nature around her, from animals and plants, in order to get home. I think that the thing that's really cool about this game is that it is fully inspired by Ojibwe culture and language. So the game is fully voice acted by
Cool.
members of the community and tribal elders, which is just super cool. And the creator of the game, who I spoke to, said that a major source of inspiration was just that their language is often only like in school when they're being taught how to speak it, and at home, and they just wanted to create a fun experience that could, like a game, that could be for young people to experience their language outside of those two like educational environments, and instead have it be like just like an authentic part of their daily experience of playing this game. I also was really struck by the way that Ojibwe culture inspired different elements of the gameplay. Like in your puzzle solving, you have to present like gifts to the plants and animals, and like follow like protocols for respect and like conversation, which I thought was like a really cool way of teaching those different elements of culture to the players, whether the players are, children from that culture or just anybody else outside of the culture. So that also spreading that knowledge. I thought that the puzzle solving was all really solid, and there was a lot of humor in the dialogue, which I wasn't necessarily expecting. But it was kind of, it wasn't like, okay, so there's other funny games where it's like they're weird and zany and that's the point. But the dialogue felt, just a little bit I don't know, natural with the way that people were just joking around. I also learned that one of the lead animators worked on Bob's Burgers, which I thought was kind of cool.
Oh.
Which I feel like you can kind of see in like the facial expressions.
Yeah, I can see it.
But then
I can see that.
you can see at this screen that's paused right now where like the character pop outs in the dialogue moments. The animals and plants, their likenesses are also inspired by like traditional art. So I thought that was all just like, it felt really intentional. And then, like I said, like the actual gameplay itself and the puzzle solving was all real solid and felt really fun to do. So
it really, really feels like a natural evolution of the PC CD-ROM education game.
Yeah.
I look at this and I go, is this putt-putt? Because I can't tell because it gives that same vibe to me.
Yeah, I definitely can see that for sure. And I appreciate what they're doing with that.
Yeah, it looks rad. I love a solid point-and-click adventure game, and I love the cultural representation that this one's doing. So
yeah.
Super cool. Awesome. All right. So that's all of our official selections, but we also have a laundry list of some speed round picks that we also want to shout out. So I'll turn it over to whoever's ready to shout out some games, and then we can go around the horn once again.
I'm gonna do 3, and then I put the 4th, but I know that Joseph also liked the 4th one that I'm gonna talk about here. Sure. So let me start with Backyard Baseball. This is a remake of the backyard sports games from back in the day. It is something that's coming out in July. I think the demo was okay because it only gave you a little mini game where you could practice your batting. But if backyard sports was your thing, they're doing the backyard sports again. I think the most coveted item at PAX East promotionally was the backyard baseball hat. Mm-hmm. I still don't know if they were selling it or giving it away, but everybody had these hats, and it got me to try the demo. Again, a demo that was okay. Definitely meant for the floor, but I wanted to try an inning or two of the game, and I couldn't. So shout out to Backyard Baseball. Hoop, did you play Backyard Baseball too?
No, the line was always... I mean, as a kid, yeah, but the line was always super long at PAX, so I didn't get a chance to get over there. But I wanted to. Like, I loved backyard baseball as a kid.
Pablo Sanchez, is that the main kid? Yeah. Shout out to him. They had a big mascot for him.
Was real solid. Like, they did some solid branding things, and I wasn't aware of this, but I was chatting with a friend of the show, Matt Storm, and they let me know that Megacat, the studio behind this one, also recently re-released a bunch of the old games on Steam. So if you want to play, I believe it's Backyard Baseball 97, you can jump into that right now, which is pretty cool.
Wait, this is also Megacat? Oh my god, Megacat is so busy these days.
Yeah, because they also just did that God of War spinoff recently.
Yep.
They did, yep.
Yeah, they're cooking. But this one's coming this summer, so excited for that one.
That was one of them. Golfle, I'm not sure it's on Steam, but it is a game where it is a daily golf game, very much like Wordle, where you get 9 holes are procedurally generated and you have to just play. I played it on an iPad. It's also available on phone. And so yeah, I don't think it's not on Steam.
I think this is like
browser
based, yeah.
It's a cool game, so shout out to Golfle. And then Do a Crime is the last one that I'll talk about. It is a little platformer where you play as a raccoon who literally does crimes. And so you'll go around and cause mischief and solve puzzles to advance. Cool little game. The demo is on Steam if you want to try it out. And so shout out to Do a Crime.
Yeah, I played that one too, and I really liked it. Had big Untitled Goose Game energy.
Mm-hmm.
The platforming itself felt a little bit like bottom heavy almost, but I thought that it had a lot of charm, and they had a really cool booth too. I think they had the coolest booth of anyone on the show floor with their camp chairs and their picnic tablecloths.
Awesome. Next up was one that Claire, you and I played, Jigrift.
Yeah. This was a really cool puzzle game where you are moving the pieces of the world. Like, the world is a puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle, and you are standing on the world and also moving it in order to move around the world, which was really cool. It was also interesting that different pieces of the world could fit together in different combinations, so you had to kind of puzzle out how to fit them together in order to get where you needed to go in your platforming. The, like, visual style, like, very old school.
Has that, like, Spyro, old Banjo-Kazooie 64
for sure.
look.
And that energy, too, in the dialogue was was also there. I think it sounds like as you progress, the pieces get bigger and more involved, and you like are putting the entire world back together as a puzzle, and I think that could be really, really cool. So this game there was something there. It was cool.
Yeah, Whitethorn's publishing this one too.
Yeah, this one was neat. Definitely on my radar. Next up, we played Well Dweller, which is from solo dev Kyle Thompson of Crypt Custodian and Islets, I think is his first game.
Yep.
But
Islets, yep.
Yeah, real rad. Visually, this game was like blew me away. It was pretty challenging. Kind of got my butt kicked, but had a really good time with it and excited to play the full game when it comes out.
Yeah, it was really pretty. The mouth stuff in the character design was a little unsettling.
Yeah, for sure. I'm hyped for this one. This is one of those things where Kyle Thompson is like slowly cooking across the duration of the past couple years, and this one just feels like okay, like we're really built on top of all the learnings of everything else. It just keeps getting better and better. I love the platforming. Like a lot of the games we talked about here, I was like, oh, the platforming could be tweaked here or there. This one, I felt like, oh, it's really dialed in with how it feels. And all the little like different little tricks. Like there's like a Celeste style trick where you're in a little bubble and the bubble kind of shoots you in a specific direction, which is really cool. And just looking at the trailer, it's just like it seems like there's just so much more in terms of like little creepy little weird guys, like kind of like a little nightmares type vibe, plus really fantastic platforming puzzles. So oh my god.
No, thank you. No.
Don't turn on the video for this one. But yeah, very excited for this.
Also, the wild thing to me with this one is Crypt Custodian came out 2 years ago. Like, this is a solo developed project, and Kyle's already got this coming out. Like, I think his games are highly underrated, but if you like Celeste, if you like Hollow Knight, if you like classic Metroidvanias and cool art styles, like, you gotta play his stuff. It's on that level, in my opinion, in terms of quality.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Claire, closing us out. Real Tiny.
Yeah. I played Real Tiny. This was also in some showcase or another, so it was on my radar. You play as a little shrew guy who is just wanting to fish in this creek. It's like an Appalachian Creek setting, and the entire game is centered around fishing. So one of the people at the booth was talking about how the creator of the game really wanted to make a game where fishing was the center instead of being like a background thing you can do in most farming sims where it's just kind of there. So it's very much about collecting different bait and upgrading your rod, and there's like an element of patience to the fishing, which I feel like is always missing in fishing minigames, where it's like you throw it and oh, there's a fish and now you caught it. And it's like, that's not how fishing works in real life. So you have to go and cast, and you just kind of have to wait and be patient until you get a bite, which I appreciate. But also, you can see the fish silhouette, so you're not just guessing. There's people to talk to and challenges and places you can sell your fish in order to get different upgrades and like customizable character outfits they said they're going to add in later. I really just like the miniatures. I always like games when it's like miniature and like the fences made out of paper clips. I just live for that shit. So it was very cute and it was fun, and I am excited to see what comes next from Real Tiny.
Hell yeah. All right, everybody. I think that brings us to a close on PAX East. Any other shout-outs, any other good of the order content plugs, things you're working on?
Yes, I would just like to thank the homie Adam Gumbert, first panel ever, game pretty. I was not the victor, but I think I did pretty good, except for the point where I forgot the name of Astrobot as a video game.
You put on a good
and
show.
Was shamed for that. Look, we did the best we can, and then video game trivia, the VOD for that. Working on it, there were some for anyone who was in the room, you knew that there were some audio issues that were going on, and so just working through that. So expect that not by the time you listen to this episode, but probably in the next 10 days I'll get that VOD out. Just a lot of work to get that to sound okay. And so thank you both for also contributing and being a part of it. Luke, for being camera, Hoop for being scorekeeper. Always a lot of fun, and thankful that PAX lets me to continue to do that very silly thing.
It's amazing. It's
with
a huge
packed
draw.
Room.
Also, letting you do it.
Capped.
Sir.
I'm sure people come to PAX for your panel. There's always so many recurring people. It is.
It's always fun to throw up the, have you done this before? And then there be a non-zero amount of people that have been to one of those shows and come back.
It feels like it's a majority.
It's look, I'm always thankful to do it, and I'm always thankful to PAX for letting me do it. So let's hope they keep letting me do it.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're thankful to you, the listener, for tuning in to this here episode. Before we set our status to away, I'm going to ask you to do 4 things for us. Give us a follow on Blue Sky at Crossplay Convos. Subscribe to us on YouTube, also at Crossplay Convos for the video version of the show. Send this podcast to a friend because that's how people hear about podcasts. And of course, give us a review on your podcasting platform of choice because it really truly does help. Get those wish lists ready and get ready for summer, y'all. It's coming. Bye.